Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Marlena tries to help Everett recapture his recollections at the Salem police station. Xander was happy to admit a visit from Sarah and Victoria. Xander was relieved when Sarah participated that Harris had awoken from his coma. Sarah said that Harris could not flash back who had shot him, and she reasoned that Harris could not interlace Xander. Xander was happy when he noted that Sarah believed he had not shot Harris. Sarah mentioned that Constantine was still a presence around Maggie at the Kiriaki's manse. Xander said that he was not thrilled at the idea of Sarah and Victoria being near Constantine. Sarah agreed when Xander asked her to stay clear of Constantine. Sarah added that Xander would be back at the couple's apartment with Victoria soon. Sarah and Xander hugged. Xander looked at Victoria, and he promised that he'd be home with her as soon as possible. In Horton Town Square, Nicole spotted Brady. Nicole participated that Holly had awoken from her coma. Brady was thrilled when he learned that Croakers anticipated Holly to make a full recovery. Brady pressed Nicole to ask Holly to set the record straight about Tate's lack of involvement in Holly's overdose. Nicole participated that Holly believed someone had slipped her medicines without Holly's knowledge at the New Year's Eve party. Brady protested that Tate had an aversion to medicines because Tate had seen Brady and Teresa's history as addicts. When Brady asked Nicole if he could speak to Holly, Nicole flatly refused. Brady grew amped when he said that Tate was not lying. Neither is Holly, Nicole shot back. Ultimately, Nicole agreed to consider allowing Brady to visit Holly when Holly felt stronger, but she said that she wouldn't make any pledges to Brady. At the halfway house a short while laterally, Brady brought Tate breakfast from Sweet Bits. Tate wanted to use Brady's phone to sluice a Premier League match for the father and son to watch together. Brady said that he'd commodity more important to partake, and he said that Holly was awake. Tate was relieved, but Brady participated that Holly had not cleared Tate's name from the night of the New Year's Eve party. At the DeMera manse, Nicole was pleased when she set up Holly awake and out of bed in the living room. Nicole presented Holly with donuts from Sweet Bits Bakery before recalling her run heft with Brady before. Nicole said that Brady had claimed Tate had not supplied Holly with the medicines that had caused Holly's overdose. He didn't, Holly said adamantly. Holly constantly claimed that Tate would no way have slipped her medicines. When Nicole asked who differently could have given Holly medicines, Holly had a flashback to New Year's Eve night. In the flashback, Holly recalled that Tate had advised her not to take medicines. "Oh, come on. They are just some ADHD meds I got from someone at Academy. Everyone does it," Holly recalled having told Tate. Holly grew short-tempered when she told Nicole that she did not know who differently would have given her medicines, and she stood up to head back to her room. At the same time, back at the halfway house, Tate had the same flashback Holly had had. Tate claimed that the medicines had belonged to Holly, and he contended with Brady to believe him. Brady said that he believed Tate, and he asked if Tate had any evidence. "My word. That is all. It's my word against hers," Tate said. In Marlena's office at the sanitarium, Marlena and Everett/Bobby began a remedy session. He claimed that Everett was his real name and that Marlena addressed him as Everett. Everett said that he was scarified of what he might learn about himself and his history. Marlena assured Everett that she was not hypercritical, and she asked what his first memory was after he had been brought out of his coma in Seattle. Everett recalled that the first thing a croaker had asked for was Everett's name. Marlena asked Everett to partake some of his foremost knowledge recollections. Everett said that his mama had loved to singe and had formerly ignited a cutlet for him in the shape of a Formula One race auto. Everett spoke radiantly of his mama. He said that her mantra had been to just be nice. Marlena noted that Everett had positive recollections of his mama. Everett admitted that he had not allowed of his mama in a long time. Everett said that he wanted to learn who Bobby Stein was. Marlena recaptured a train that Jada had transferred. "It says then that your name is Robert Everett Stein. And your mama's maiden name was Lynch," Marlena read. When Marlena asked Everett about his father, Everett said that he was having a delicate time recalling his father. Everett asked why he'd have forgotten his father. Why would I just fully annihilate him from my mind? B wondered. Marlena stopped the session, and she said that she wanted to try to use hypnotism on Everett during their coming appointment. Everett agreed, but he sounded nervous and uncertain. Everett entered a textbook from Stephanie, who participated, that she was at the Horton house. Everett agreed to meet with Marlena the following week. He stood up to thank her for her help. Marlena sounded puzzled when Everett left the room. At the Horton house, Julie was thrilled that Stephanie had stopped by to levy in the recovery of the home. Julie mentioned that she had spoken to Everett/Bobby, and she participated that Everett authentically watched for Stephanie. Stephanie moved presto to change the subject. Julie returned with a box of things that included one of Doug's vinyl compendiums that she said had not been touched since the 70s. Roman and Chad appeared with breakfast from the Brady pub. Julie grew novelettish when she said that she was fortunate to have musketeers like Chad, Roman, and Stephanie. Julie asked everyone gathered to help her search for a key to the time capsule that had been discovered days before. Julie said she hoped that whatever was inside the time capsule would bring her family joy. Julie asked Roman to accompany her to the reverse yard to decide what cabinetwork could be rescued. Alone in the house latterly, Chad mentioned Everett, and he said that Stephanie merited better than both Chad and Everett. Chad and Stephanie recalled a warm memory they had with Thomas and Charlotte at Six Flags. Chad said that he was there for Stephanie if she ever wanted to talk or vent. Chad and Stephanie admitted that they were thankful to have one another in their lives, and they hugged. Unknown to Chad and Stephanie, Everett had entered the house just in time to see the clinch. Chad and Stephanie said that they were happy they had moved past the awkward stages following their bifurcation months before. Chad asked if he could walk Stephanie home. At the same time, Everett had left the house and stood ominously by the entrance of the home. Everett sounded incensed as he stood alone. Ava comes clean to John and Steve. Clyde gave her an ultimatum. Days of Our Lives spoilers and updates tease Ava Vitale comes clean to John Black and Steve Johnson. Clyde Weston gave her an claim and now she really needs their help. Days of Our Lives Steve Johnson suspected Ava Vitale's in trouble. Steve suspected that Ava's in trouble and that Clyde had some kind of influence over her besides their son Trip Johnson and his gal Wendy Shin's hijacking. He just wasn't sure what Ava was being forced to do, although he'd an idea it might have to do with the medicines being moved through Salem. Days of Our Lives Ava comes clean to John and Steve. Clyde gave her an ultimatum. Clyde has been a medicine lord ever since his days in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and indeed, when he was pretending to go straight he was doing illegal effects. Leopards can't change their spots and skunks can't change their stripes, and nor would they want if Clyde's like a leopard or a skunk. Steve and John both know that people can change if they want to, although it's at times a delicate process, and they believe Ava. DOL Ava Vitale tells all Clyde has given and claimed to Ava either she help him with a captivity break or Trip and Wendy die. Steve and John have been furiously trying to find their position. Indeed, they don't know exactly where they're other than being trapped in some kind of tank, conceivably an old gas or water tank in an abandoned installation. All they've to go on is the prince and Trip's communication, which they derived he was forced to read from a script prepared by the kidnapper. Ava tells Steve and John that she and Stefan DiMera are being forced to run medicines through the bistro, Stefan's woman. Formerly having a leg broken in Statesville. Wendy and Trip were supposedly abducted from Horton Town Square during the geocaching event. The first indication was when they didn't show up for work. Days of Our Lives a plan will be put together. Steve and John know that time is of the substance to save Wendy and Trip, and Clyde has people on the outside helping. He was in Statesville when they faded. They certain Clyde's associates on the outside also shot Harris Michaels as well as set the Horton house on fire and tried to shoot Lucas Horton. They assure Ava that Ray Fernandez is on her side and wants to help, and they know there's a dirty Bobby. Harris told him. They've a dubitation. The dirty Bobby tricked Wendy and Trip into going with her to a place of safety. The only problem is, they can identify the dirty Bobby. So they've to accelerate and find them and save them.